They reject you and suddenly you're crawling back. You're texting, you're explaining. You're begging for scraps of attention from someone who just told you that you don't matter. Stop. This isn't love, this is control. And you're dancing to their music. If you've ever found yourself chasing someone harder after they pulled away, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments what hurts most about being rejected by someone you care about. I read every single comment, and your truth might be exactly what saves someone else from this cycle today. Here's what's really happening when the worst narcissist rejects you. They're not closing a door, they're opening a cage, and you're walking right into it with your eyes wide open, convinced you're fighting for love. You're not fighting for love, you're fighting for your own destruction. John Bowlby, the psychologist who revolutionized our understanding of human attachment, discovered something that will change how you see rejection forever. When someone we care about becomes unpredictable, giving us love one day, ripping it away the next, our nervous system doesn't just accept the loss, it panics, it fights, it craves, it becomes chemically addicted to the very source of our pain. The narcissist knows this. They didn't study Bowlby, but they understand the game better than you do. They understand that rejection is not an ending, it's a beginning, the beginning of your obsession with them. They reject you precisely because rejection makes you chase. They withhold love because scarcity creates addiction. They pull away because distance makes you desperate. You think you're fighting for love. You're actually fighting for your own dignity and losing every single battle. Listen to me carefully. When someone rejects you, they're giving you information. Pure, unfiltered information about exactly how much space you occupy in their world. They're telling you where you stand in their hierarchy of importance. They're showing you your value in their eyes, and you're arguing with their truth. You're trying to convince them that their feelings about you are wrong. You're presenting evidence for why you should matter to someone who has already decided you don't. You're negotiating for a seat at a table where you were never invited to begin with. This is not love. This is self-abandonment in its most brutal form. The worst narcissist rejects you and then watches. They watch you scramble. They watch you explain yourself. They watch you shrink and beg and transform into someone smaller, someone more desperate, someone who needs them infinitely more than they need you. They watch you become exactly what they want, completely and utterly controllable. And in that moment, in that desperate moment when you're texting them at 2 a.m., when you're driving past their house hoping to catch a glimpse of their life without you, when you're checking if they've seen your messages, when you're analyzing their social media posts for hidden meanings about your relationship, you become their puppet. The worst narcissists have perfected this weapon of rejection. They know that rejection doesn't just hurt you, it transforms you. It turns you into someone willing to accept less than you deserve, someone willing to settle for emotional breadcrumbs, someone who will compete for their attention like you're auditioning for your own worth. They don't reject you randomly. There's a method to their madness. They reject you when you're feeling most secure. They reject you right after moments of deep intimacy. They reject you when you start to believe you actually matter to them. They reject you when you begin to expect consistency from them. This isn't coincidence. This is psychological warfare. Bowlby called this anxious attachment, and it's exactly what the narcissist is creating in you. When love becomes unpredictable, when affection becomes conditional, when acceptance becomes a prize to be won, we don't detach. We attach harder. We become hyper-vigilant. We become obsessed. Your brain starts working overtime. You replay every conversation, searching for clues about what went wrong. You analyze every word, every silence, every micro-expression, trying to decode the mystery of their feelings. You become a detective in your own relationship, desperately trying to solve the case of how to be worthy of their love. You start walking on eggshells, monitoring your every word, your every action, your every emotion, trying to prevent the next rejection before it comes. You become a prisoner in your own relationship, constantly afraid of saying or doing the wrong thing. But here's what Bowlby also discovered, and this is crucial. This pattern isn't really about them. This goes much deeper. This goes back to every time you weren't chosen as a child. Every time love felt conditional in your family, every time you learned that your worth depended on someone else's approval. Every time you were taught that love was something you had to earn. rather than something you deserved simply by existing. The narcissist didn't create this wound in you. They just found it. They pressed on it. They discovered that rejection is your deepest trigger. And now they're using it like a remote control for your emotions and behavior. You want them to choose you because somewhere deep inside, you've never learned how to choose yourself. You've never learned that your worth isn't determined by someone else's ability to see it. They know you'll come back because you always do. They know you'll accept less because you're more afraid of having nothing than having something toxic. They know you'll tolerate their rejection because you're more terrified of their permanent absence than their temporary abuse. This is how the worst narcissist controls you through rejection. They make you grateful for their return. They make you feel lucky when they decide to want you again. They condition you to see their attention as a precious gift rather than a basic requirement in any healthy relationship. You start measuring your entire worth by their moods. Good day with them? You must be lovable. Bad day? You must have done something wrong. Rejection? Time to prove yourself all over again. Their emotions become the barometer for your self-esteem. They train you to see their love as scarce, limited, something that must be earned over and over again. They make you believe that their affection is a privilege, not a right. They convince you that their rejection is your fault, not their weapon. And slowly, methodically, they rewire your brain to believe that love is supposed to hurt, that relationships are supposed to be battles, that you're supposed to fight for every scrap of affection you receive. But here's your way out, and it's simpler than you think. Stop negotiating, stop explaining. Stop trying to prove that you deserve what they're withholding from you. When someone rejects you, especially someone who does it to control you, to manipulate you, to keep you dancing to their twisted music, your job is not to change their mind. Your job is not to present a better case for your worth. Your job is to believe them the first time and walk away with your dignity intact. You think walking away means you're giving up on love. You're not giving up on love, you're giving up on suffering. You're refusing to participate in a rigged game where your self-worth is the prize and they hold all the cards. You're declining to audition for someone's love when real love doesn't require auditions. The narcissist rejects you because they know rejection works on you like a drug. It stops working the moment you stop caring whether they choose you or not. It becomes powerless the instant you choose yourself instead. Here's what happens when you stop chasing their approval. They lose their primary weapon. Their rejection becomes meaningless because you're no longer there to receive it. Their control evaporates because you're no longer willing to be controlled. Their power disappears because you're no longer feeding it with your desperation. But first, you have to face the truth that hurts most. You were never really fighting for their love. You were fighting against your own fear of being alone. You were fighting against the voice in your head that whispers, "You're not enough." You were fighting against every wound from your past that taught you that love requires suffering, that affection must be earned, that you have to prove your worth to be worthy of care. The narcissist saw that fear and weaponized it. They saw your wound and turned it into their greatest advantage. They saw your need for love and transformed it into a tool of control. Real love doesn't reject you to control you. Real love doesn't withdraw to manipulate you. Real love doesn't make you smaller so it can feel bigger. Real love doesn't use your deepest fears and insecurities as weapons against you. Real love chooses you consistently, not sporadically. Real love doesn't play games with your attachment system. Real love doesn't make you earn basic respect and kindness. Real love doesn't require you to chase it across emotional minefields. Real love doesn't hide behind rejection. It doesn't disguise itself as unavailability. It doesn't pretend that inconsistency is passion or that pain is proof of depth. And you, listen to me, you deserve real love. Not the counterfeit version that comes wrapped in rejection and tied with strings of control, not the toxic imitation that makes you grateful for scraps. Not the poisonous substitute that convinces you that love is supposed to hurt. The next time someone rejects you to manipulate you, try this radical approach. Thank them. Thank them for showing you exactly who they are and what they're capable of. Thank them for saving you from a relationship that was never going to honor your worth or respect your heart. Thank them for the clarity. Thank them for the lesson. Thank them for removing themselves from your life. so someone who actually deserves you can find their way in. Then turn around and walk toward someone who doesn't need to reject you to feel powerful. Walk toward someone who doesn't need to control you to keep you. Walk toward someone who doesn't need to diminish you to feel important. Walk toward someone who sees your worth without you having to prove it. Someone who chooses you without games or conditions. Someone who loves you without making you suffer for it. Walk toward yourself. Because the truth is, you were never really rejected. You were redirected. Away from someone who couldn't recognize your value and towards someone who can. Away from someone who saw you as controllable and towards someone who sees you as valuable. That someone is you. And when you finally choose yourself, really truly choose yourself, you'll realize that the narcissist's rejection wasn't your loss. It was your liberation. Their control wasn't love, it was a prison. Their absence isn't emptiness, it's freedom. You don't need their love. You never did. You just need to remember that you're worthy of love that doesn't hurt, love that doesn't reject, love that doesn't control, love that doesn't make you smaller. You're worthy of love that stays, love that chooses you every single day, love that sees your worth and celebrates it instead of using it against you. The worst narcissist controls you through rejection only as long as you let them. The moment you stop dancing to their music, the moment you stop begging for their approval, the moment you choose your own worth over their validation, that's the moment you become uncontrollable, and that's the moment you become free.